Hi, welcome back to the Artisan Homestead. Today I'm going to talk about our plans and goals for the future, what we wish to achieve on our land here in a couple of years. You could say this video is somehow our vision for the future. I'll also talk about our plans for this year, but that will probably become a separate video, as I think this video will otherwise become way too long. So let's start with our long-term plans and goals for our small homestead here in France, to give you an idea of where we want to go from here. We use permaculture principles, but we're no experts, so we're still learning a lot. For those who don't know, permaculture is a way of thinking in systems based on a couple of principles, working with nature instead of against it, and using what you have or what's locally available. We try to practice our systems thinking in every aspect of the garden and wherever we can in our renovation too. But permaculture is so much more than that. It's hard to explain in one sentence, but you'll see the systems thinking coming back here and there when I talk about our plans. We strive to grow as much of our own food as possible and get some kind of income from the garden to pay for other foods we can't grow ourselves. And if we buy food, we want to buy it from local farmers as much as we can, or maybe trade products. So we're not striving for self-sufficiency, but we want to know where our food comes from. We believe you need a local community for that. And it's not because I say this that we are at that level already. It's something we strive for. A big long-term goal is to grow a food forest. In our garden, we are growing mainly annuals now, but we are constantly expanding our perennial crops, plants, shrubs and trees. We'll experiment with guilds, which is a way of planting certain things together that support and help each other. But like I said in the previous video, we use our garden as a plant nursery to grow way too much perennials for this space in order to have enough to plant a food forest on another piece of land later. And we'll probably grow way too much for that as well. So we might be able to sell or trade some plants with other gardeners. Our knowledge of fungi and mushrooms is almost non-existent, so we still have a lot to learn on that part, because we'd like to also have mushrooms in our food forest. A smaller goal, and something we'll work on from this year, but don't know if it's already realistic now, is to have daily fresh leafy greens from the garden all year round, and a lot of variety in that. We'll see how far we come this year. So like I said, we want to grow as much of our own food as possible and make a small income that pays for other food costs. But we don't strive to have all of our income from the garden. Our main income will be from selling handmade products, like for example my jewelry, as I am a jewelry designer and goldsmith, and from teaching and organizing workshops and masterclasses on jewelry making techniques. Plus, we'll be renting out a room, or maybe someday 2 rooms, for people to come here as an artist in residence to spend dedicated time to learn new techniques or build a portfolio of artworks or a collection of jewelry or any other project like that. So that's why you'll see that in our renovation plans for this year, we will focus on finishing the larger studio space first before starting on our own house, for example, as we need this space to make an income. I am currently in my temporary studio that will become an artist in residence room in the future. This room we already converted, as it used to look like this. Long-term renovation plans are to renovate the bread oven house, add stairs and also renovate it upstairs, install a new grey water filtering system, as we're not connected to a sewage system and the septic system we have now will need updates. Renovate our house. That's a big one, right? The plans are always changing. We hope our roof will still be okay for a few years until we saved up enough money to do the complete renovation of our house. We currently only use the ground floor, there's no stairs, and we'd like to add them here as well to create more space so that our kids can have separate bedrooms, for example. Other things we'd like to build and make, but they're on this long-term list, as we also realize these probably will not be projects for this year, are a carport, a new little roof and door for our well in the front yard, a driveway, a solar oven and solar dehydrator, as we want to cook less with heat inside of our house during the summer to keep the house cool, and it doesn't require using electricity or gas, right? And something that brings me to a great example of permaculture systems thinking, we would like to create a aquaponics or duck-ponics, which is an aquaponics system adapted to ducks. Okay, let me explain that just a little bit. We adopted 2 runner ducks last year who had 15 cute ducklings pretty fast. I knew we wanted runner ducks to eat slugs and snails, as we have a lot of those in our garden. This duck family did a great job on slug and snail control. The damage was manageable and they were just so cute. I really liked them. They lived on my brother's land across the street, where they also had a little pond that was already there. But for those who own ducks, it won't be a surprise that the duck pond became dirty and smelly very fast. Unfortunately, a fox got into their coop during the night and killed all of them. It was so sad. We learned that if we want runner ducks again in the future, which we do as slugs and snails are multiplying rapidly, we'll need a better coop and a filtering system for their pond. I know a lot of people keep runner ducks because they don't need a pond. They just need to be able to put their head in a bucket of water or something like that. But we saw the ducks were so happy with their pond and don't want to keep ducks without it. But if we need to filter the water, why don't use a system that during the filtering process also adds something? And that's where we thought of hydroponics and aquaponics systems and found out that duck-ponics is a thing. So you'll pump up the dirty water, and as it flows down into several large containers that filter the water with the help of plants, those plants are edible and could, for example, feed the ducks. Genius, right? Most examples we found online were functioning very well, but looked kinda messy and some even ugly. So we hope to create a functioning system that clears pond water, provides fresh food, and also adds a beautiful water element to our garden. We always try to find at least 3 reasons why to add something to our garden, from a plant or flower to an animal to the water or really anything. It has to have several functions, and beauty is one of them in my opinion. Ducks bring us to animals in general. We have some animals and would like some more, but we will not eat them. However, we occasionally eat eggs from our chickens. It's something that is still a bit taboo in the homesteading community. We are mainly a plant-based homestead. We're not vegan and do not eat a 100% plant-based diet, so we feel like we're in a sort of gray area, which causes both sides to give us weird looks sometimes. If you want, please feel free to share in the comments below if you're in this gray area too or not. We believe eating a plant-based diet is best for our health and the health of our planet. We also believe eating local grown food is the most sustainable. I know this whole topic is quite controversial, which is a shame. I would like to talk more about it, so maybe we'll make videos on this topic in the future. I just wanted to share this as it is an important thing to understand what we're doing here, and I think eating plant-based also makes it a lot easier to grow more of your own food, as it requires less land and you don't have the responsibilities that come with raising cattle or meat birds or whatever animal. But just to be clear, I'm not judging anyone for their choices. So we have 3 pet chickens. They are very small, We keep them as pets, but also to clear up our garden beds, help with pest control, and we occasionally eat their eggs. But they're not laying hens, so they don't lay eggs very often. We plan on adopting more chickens in the future. Why do we want more chickens, you may ask? Inspired by the YouTube channel Edible Acres, we would like to create a system where chickens help us make more compost. We would also like to have rabbits again as pets for our kids to help us cut the grass, and their manure is helping to improve our soil and is a great fertilizer. A lot of people asked us if we were going to keep honeybees. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about another aspect of permaculture, and that is observation. So we don't want honeybees, as they would be disturbing the pollinators who are already here. We have lots and lots of wild bees here, and some are very rare kinds, so adding honeybees doesn't seem like a good idea. We rather improve things for the wild bees. They are also very, very important. We would also like to learn all about vermicompost and maybe have a small worm farm. Worms used to freak me out as a kid. I thought they were creepy. But since learning how important they are for our soil, I like them. Long-term things we want to keep learning about are learning more about herbs besides cooking. We want to someday master all kinds of food preservation methods. I want to learn how to make beautiful flower arrangements and how to dry flowers and all of that. And we want to speak French at a level we currently speak English. We have a long way to go. But I figured that if we managed learning English, we can learn French too. On that note, I'll end this video here. Look out for the next one if you're curious on what we've planned for this year. Subscribe to our channel to follow our journey and give this video a thumbs up if you want to support what we do here. I also would like to get to know you better, so feel free to introduce yourselves in the comments. Are you homesteading too, or do you dream of a similar life? Where do you live? Tell me something about yourself if you want. Thank you very much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye!